Hello and welcome to Devil's Advocate. Does the government accept that the Bombay terrorist strike caught India with its pants down? That's the key issue I should explore today with the Minister of Science and Technology, Kapil Sibal. Kapil Sibal, it may be a rough thing to say, but many believe it's the blunt truth. India was caught with its pants down.
Well, I don't. That you have the privilege to use that expression, but this much is right that there cannot be something as horrendous as this, which happened without there being security lapses or lapses of intelligence.
It wasn't just what happened that was horrendous. It was the utter failure of several institutions to be able to respond.
Absolutely.
That was embarrassing.
Down the line, from the time that some information came to the time that we responded to what was happening in front of our eyes, I think all across there were lapses. There is no doubt about it.
Are you embarrassed?
More than embarrassed, I think that I'm enraged.
All right, let's go through some of the things that happened and take them issue by issue. Let's begin with the innumerable actionable intelligence alerts that were completely ignored. The Hindustan Times reports that 4 separate alerts were given by RAW predicting that the terrorists would come by sea, identifying the targets they would go for. These were given as recently as the 19th of November and the 26th of November and completely ignored.
Well, this is the point that, yes, there were alerts, yes, there was information. What was the credence given to that information?
None.
What seriousness? Well, this is the point. Obviously, no seriousness was given to that information. What was the kind of information that was available earlier? There may have been information earlier as well. Someone said it was not actionable information. So the point is, obviously there is something wrong with the agencies which look at that information and analyze it.
In fact, it's even worse. The British newspaper, The Guardian, says that senior Bush administration officials have said that they had exactly and precisely predicted that the Taj Hotel would be a target. The American TV channels CNN and ABC say that these warnings about the Taj were given twice in the last month and no Indian official took cognizance of them.
First of all, I do not know who the information was given to, because you're not quoting me newspapers, Indian newspapers as well as foreign newspapers. But I am sure there was information of some sort or the other. Such a particular attack could not have been executed without long-term planning and training. And down the road, obviously, there were some lapses.
But it's not just that intelligence that was available, that was detailed, that was specific and therefore actionable was ignored. What's even worse is that the authorities actually operated as if there wasn't a sense of crisis. Ratan Tata has revealed that in the days preceding the attack, the security provided for the Taj was actually reduced, which suggests that the authorities thought the situation was improving.
I cannot now, answer on behalf of some of the state agencies, some of the state authorities who ought to have looked at the situation in the context of the information available with them. But I can say, I can say that when I look at what happened, and I look at the enormity of what happened, and I look at the fact that this could not have happened on a plan which was executed overnight, obviously there have been serious lapses.
All right, let me put it like this. Would you accept that this is a monumental failure both of the Joint Intelligence Committee and the National Security Secretary?
You want to put me in the dock, I'm ready to be in the dock. Okay? We're the government in power, and the fact of the matter is that such a thing happened, we couldn't prevent it, and we're sorry. We're really sorry.
You mean that? You are really, truly sorry?
I'm genuinely very, very upset.
Are you asking the country to forgive you?
There's no question of forgiveness. We have to now fight this and fight this together.
But before
what's the point of my saying forgive us? Somebody will say to me, this is all very well for you to say forgive you. Everybody says that.
I asked that question.
The fact is, I think that I have expressed my sentiments.
I'll tell you why I asked that question. I'll tell you why I asked that they're actually asking for apology, because on the 19th of May 2004, 2 days after the Congress-led government was elected, Sonia Gandhi said, our country will be safe in Dr. Manmohan Singh's hands. She couldn't have meant this by saying.
Nobody at that time, neither Sonia Gandhi ji, nor the Prime Minister, nor any of us could have imagined. Remember, this attack was something very different from the attack.
Which is why I'm saying, when you say you're very, very sorry, are you also saying, please forgive me to the country? Please forgive us.
The point is, when I say that I'm very, very sorry, what does it mean? It means that, I feel
Okay.
What more do you want me to say?
Let me bring up another aspect. Let's move from intelligence, let's come to the NSG. Do you remember how Congress criticized the BJP during the Kandahar hijack for the fact that the NSG was slow to respond? This time round, an NSG that should have moved in 20 minutes took 10 hours.
Well, it's not the fault of the NSG. It's a systemic failure.
No, it's more than a systemic failure. The NSG don't have a plane for emergency
That's right, so not the
use.
fault of the NSG.
But given that you criticized them at the time,
No,
how come you didn't provide that plane?
Forget criticism. Let's not have learned from our mistakes. I think this is a watershed. Such a thing should not have happened. The enormity of the attack, of the collapse of our systems, has brought home the message to us that there is no more time to waste.
So we need to make sure that the NSG of future has a dedicated
Absolutely, they must have dedicated planes, they must have dedicated transportation systems, there must be a command system which must not be interfered with. All that must happen.
Okay, let's come to a third issue. One that is perhaps particularly shocking. Sharad Pawar, your ally, revealed to the All-Party Conference that the Bombay ATS has only 10 bulletproof jackets and helmets, and those two date back to 1992.
Well, remember, these bulletproof jackets do not protect you from the AK-47s, the MI6s. These bulletproof jackets are meant to protect you from, much weaker weapons. And therefore, even if you had the bulletproof jackets, remember, the more secure you want your bulletproof jacket, the heavier it is, the more expensive this is.
Let me point out to you that Western papers are in fact saying that what was provided to Indian commandos wasn't bulletproof. Let me finish. Wasn't even bulletproof jackets. The New York Times says that they were riot control jackets.
They were woefully unprotected. I accept that.
But they were the wrong thing. They were knowingly the wrong product.
Well, I don't know what knowingly about that. That's something that the investigation will show. I cannot comment on it. But I know the end result, that 3 of our top people were shot.
If I take that example up, people saw on television on Wednesday night Hemant Karkare, the head of the ATS, trying on different bulletproof jackets to find one that fitted him.
Right.
Why did he not have a tailor-made one? He's the head of the ATS.
You ask the ATS, you ask the systems that are available there. I don't know. We can only, in hindsight, say that this was something unacceptable. It is unacceptable.
He had a bulletproof jacket on, and so did his 2 senior colleagues, and they were shot through the chest.
I think our police forces, our ATS, our NSG, our ordinary police forces need to be protected, need to be equipped, need to be armed with the most modern weapons, and I don't think money should be a consideration.
And do you know what YP Singh, the former police commissioner of Bombay, says? He says if they had been properly equipped, they might have only been injured.
These people say all that. The point is, this has not happened overnight. For the last 30 years, nobody has equipped these people. It's very well for everybody to criticize, and I think that we deserve that criticism. But it's not as if everybody down the road for the last 30 years is at fault.
But
because people have not been equipped. Our forces have not been modernized.
When you say they've not been equipped, most people think that they haven't got the most modern equipment. What people don't realize is that
they've got 303 rifles.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And the London Times publishes this story that the Indian policemen had World War II vintage rifles.
We know
the laughing stock of the world.
We know what the reality is, and I'm telling you, Karan, this is unacceptable. What more can I say?
But explain this to me. For 4.5 years you've been in government in Delhi. For almost 10 years you've been in government in Maharashtra. Are you not responsible for this?
Did I say I was not responsible? How much? I have already said I'm responsible.
But
we have accepted the responsibility.
No, I'm going beyond the
Our Home Minister has gone to Bombay and said that we are sorry. The Home Minister has said that.
But I'm going beyond responsibility. I'm saying, what sort of mind sat as Home Minister in Delhi or in Bombay and didn't realize that one day when the situation reaches crisis point, we're going to be caught woefully short? Did they not think? Did they not analyze?
This is not the first time that we've been attacked. Of course, the enormity of this is much more different from previous attacks. But this is something that is known to all authorities. One second. Every state government.
So we've learned no lesson?
No. But the point I'm making is that this is a watershed.
So this is the point I'm asking. What sort of people don't learn lessons and don't learn them repeatedly?
But I agree with you. Therefore, I said this is a watershed, and I think our Home Minister, our government are going to put institutions in place, mechanisms in place, equipped our people with the modern...
But we've said this every time.
No, that's not the point. We haven't said it. Such a thing has not happened before. Right?
Do you know what happened today, Saturday? The Prime Minister goes to Shanti Niketan and the police have paid 120 rupees per boy to put them up trees to act as watchguards. I mean, if the Prime Minister
I agree. I think our security
system
systems need a complete revamp. Of course, I agree with you. I mean, the fact is that this is a wake-up call, and I think it's a wake-up call that is now the entire country is now aware of the fact that any government in power must put these institutions and systems in place for everybody's security.
Let me point out something else too. India perhaps has more terrorist strikes than any other country. Certainly India is in the top 3.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
Yet our police-to-people ratio is worse than Zimbabwe, Zambia. It's way worse than Sri Lanka. But the real shocking news is that even during the 4.5 years of the rule of the Congress-led UPA, it's steadily declined.
No, I agree with you. I think that no, you want me to keep on repeating the same thing on television.
No, I just...
do not understand it myself. But the fact of the matter is that this state is not police is not a central subject. Police is a state subject. Law and order is a state subject. Every state has... One second. That's not the point. Every state government has the responsibility to arm their police persons, to equip them properly. It's not the fault only of the Congress party. It's the fault of the system. Let's be clear on it.
You know something else? Last year, I'm told, this is what the newspapers say, almost 10,000 crore was spent nationwide on modernizing the police force. Where's that money gone?
Well, I don't know. I don't know the numbers, and if 10,000 crores were sent, it must have been well spent. Because
but it can't have been because
this is not the only area where expenditure is needed for the police forces. It must have been spent. It must have been well spent. And if you want an account of it, I'm sure that we'll be able to give it to you. I can't give it to you offhand now.
All right, let's take a break at that point. I want to come back and put you a simple question that the people of India today are asking. Do our politicians really care about efficiency and providing good governance? Or do they simply think of clever excuses after tragic events and hope that India will forget next time round? That's the subject in a moment's time. See you after the break. Welcome back to Devil's Advocate. I'm talking to the Minister of Science and Technology, Kapil Sibal, about the incredible, in fact, unbelievable lapse at every level by the Indian state when faced by terror in Mumbai. Kapil Sibal, you were honest enough to say that you're deeply, deeply sorry. You came very close to asking for forgiveness, although you stopped short of that. Let me put something to you. Can you today understand the way in which the people of India look on politicians? They've gone from criticism to ridicule to contempt for them.
I think I understood it not today, many years ago. I'm aware of this, and it's not something that I have kept quiet about. This is something that I'm very disturbed by. And I think that our political system needs to have a fresh look at themselves.
Is this a crisis for Indian politicians?
Yeah, it has been a crisis for many years. It's not a crisis that has happened overnight.
But how can something stay a crisis for many years and not get better? In fact,
because
it gets worse and worse and worse.
Civil society keeps itself away from politics. People do not want to take up politics as a career because they find it very difficult and occasionally very humiliating.
You're saying that because good people don't come in, the bad continue.
Good people don't come in. We don't have the kind of professionalism that is needed in politics. And I'm not blaming any particular party, and I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody, but that's the state of politics in our country.
But even if you're right in saying that good don't come in and therefore the bad continue, why is it that the very worst seem to rise to the positions of responsibility?
Karan, if you understand the way the political system functions in this country, and if you fight a Lok Sabha election, you will know that the rot starts from the bottom.
But it seems to steadily rise uninterrupted to the top.
It's bound to rise. If the foundations are weak, the house can't be strong.
I mean, we end up with home ministers who are not just an embarrassment.
I will not personalize this debate, please.
All right, let's not personalize the debate. But we end up with a range of ministers at the top who not only are incompetent, but don't seem to care about their incompetence.
I will not talk about competence, incompetence. It's not for me to judge. I am nobody to judge somebody else's competence. I'm just talking about the lot that enters politics. and then ultimately, if the foundation is weak and rotten, the superstructure can't be very
What
good.
about the spectacle that was staged in the last 3-4 days in Maharashtra as you attempted, seemed to fail, and then succeeded in changing the chief minister? Then you couldn't find a replacement, then you found a replacement, and then Rani revolted.
These are difficult things. These are difficult choices. Ultimately, to replace a leader is not an easy choice. And in the Indian
Was
politics,
this a seemly tamasha that was
whether it
enacted
was
for
seemly
4
or not,
days?
that's the reality of politics. We've seen this reality enact itself not once
But
but
does
hundreds
this
of
sort of
times
reality
across the
embarrass
board,
Kapil Sibal?
across the board, and in every political. That's the nature of politics. Unfortunately,
But you
It's
seem to be
fractious.
accepting it rather
It's
than wanting to
It is
change
what
it.
it is. There's no point my saying that okay, this is the kind of politics, is it? And I throw up my hand and
But
say,
you know,
let's forget it.
when you say it is what it is, then there's not just acceptance and resignation, you're
There is
actually giving
neither-
an explanation.
There is no
for it.
resignation. There is a firm belief that it needs to change.
But it will only change if you say
Well,
to me
we are
that you're
trying to.
embarrassed by
we
what's
have
happened.
We have tried. Okay, or we accept the fact that this is something that should never have happened. But it's not as if this government in the last 5 years has not tried to change systems.
You
Have
couldn't
not
have
tried to
tried, you
reach out
couldn't have
people.
tried very hard if we
We've
end up
tried
with
very
this
hard,
mess.
and we have changed a lot of things. We've done a lot of things in these 5 years that people have not done, governments have not done in 50
Let me
years.
put this to you.
We have tried to reach out to people. We have set out schemes that were never there before.
Let me put this to you.
This government,
For
in terms
70
of
hours, the people of Mumbai were
agree.
traumatized.
Yes,
Finish.
yes.
For 70 hours, the people of Mumbai were traumatized what was happening. The country felt destroyed, not just disheartened.
Absolutely.
And then, instead of politicians rising to the occasion, the Congress falls apart, squabbling amongst itself
Come along.
for the top
Now,
job.
see the tamasha that was going on. Chief ministers from other states coming and making statements. Don't just attack the Congress party. The Congress party certainly shares the blame. But see what was happening across the board in other political parties.
You're alluding to Narendra Modi.
What Mr. Advani was saying. See what Mr. Narendra Modi was saying.
Which is why the Indian people today, and I'm using
But
that
that's
word
what
deliberately,
But
disgusted.
did I not agree with you? But I have agreed with you. So why carry on this? You're right, we need to change things.
When is it going to change?
Why? I don't know. Ultimately, people have the right to change things, no? Let the people participate in the electoral
Are you
process for
actually saying
change.
to the people of India, don't vote for us, that's the only way
I
we
am not
learn?
saying anything. I'm saying if you feel strongly about something, come out and vote for your beliefs.
Most people feel so strongly they don't want to vote at all.
Why? That unfortunately is not a choice available in the electoral system. And I think that's a very defeatist attitude and a defeatist way of looking at things.
Today, you are facing a country that's not just disheartened and disgusted, but something worse still. It's demoralized. It actually has begun to believe that things aren't going to
Incidentally,
change.
if you continue to use these expressions, perhaps we will be really demoralized.
But that's actually
But
true.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm describing
sorry.
what people
I know,
feel.
True, there are lots of people feel that, but there are lots of people out there, including myself, who feel we can change it.
But you're a minority.
I may be a minority, but minorities ultimately end up becoming majorities.
How?
By changing
It's
the
not
system.
happening in this country.
Why do you say it will not happen? Why are you so hopeless?
Where
And
do
feel
you
so hopelessly about your own country?
I don't feel hopelessly about
You
my own
do.
country. I feel
The
hopelessly
kind of-
about Indian
the
politics
kind
and
of
Indian politicians.
expressions you use, you think that there is no hope. I think there is enormous hope in this country, and we will change
People
things.
in India
And our
say there is no
government
hope
means
as
business.
long as these politicians
Come
continue
on,
the
come
way
on.
they are.
Nothing is static ever in life, including life.
The problem is, the movement is always for the worse in India, not for the better.
This is the catharsis that keeps on taking place.
You
This is dialectics.
really see a silver lining to this dark
There
black
is
cloud?
absolute.
What is the lining?
The lining is that we are committed and convinced and that we will change this system.
Who's we?
We means whoever is in power today at this point in time.
It hasn't happened for 60
It's
years.
true.
Why should we believe
But
it today?
don't believe us. I'm not saying you must believe us. I am giving you, making a statement that we are committed to do something.
You
Right.
may be, but are the other politicians?
I'm sure people, there are right-thinking people in this government who feel equally strongly. Why do you assume?
Are you speaking with confidence or are you just saying it
No,
because
I'm
you have to say it?
speaking with passion, not just with confidence.
And you believe it?
I believe it. I believe our Prime Minister wants to change things. I believe Sonia Gandhi wants to change things. I believe our Home Minister wants to
All
change
right,
things.
Kapil Sibal, let's hope you're right. A pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.